holiday is something to look forward to. We look forward to Christmas. We go shopping, we plan gifts, we buy gift wrap, we think of our loved ones, we buy things we don't need, we give things that people want. We want to make people happy. We look forward to Christmas. As it gets closer to Christmas, we want to see our friends. We go out for dinner. We hang out with family members that we haven't seen for a long time. The holidays is something we look forward to. It gives us meaning. It gives us a goal, right? For the big day, the holiday, Christmas, Santa Claus. I gotta dress up the tree. So we go to the tree and everybody's happy. Everybody's happy around Christmas because there's something to look forward to and it's a shared goal. Then Christmas happens and we open the gifts and there's an elation, there's happiness. And after that, we realize, I don't want to see my family anymore and I've had too much to eat and I've gained weight. And reality sinks in and we start to think, I got to go back to work, I got to pay off my credit cards. And Christmas wasn't as magical as it had appeared in the months preceding Christmas. So why do I bring up Christmas and the holidays? Is because human beings are programmed. They're programmed for this kind of event, for a special day. And so when it comes to Ascension, or things like disclosure, we tend to create situations or look for situations, and people sell situations where there's a magical day, right? There's a magical day, and when this magical day arrives, historically speaking, nothing happens. There has been no grand planetary mass ascension. The Mayan calendar of 2012 didn't do anything. Did nothing. The end of 1999, the end of the century, was going to be the end of the collapse. The computers would shut down. Nothing happened. The rapture, nothing happened. All the dates, I don't know how many dates and planetary alignments and the arrival of the extraterrestrials and the day of disclosure, none of them appeared. Nothing ever happened on any particular day that was any more special than many other days, than a spring equinox, than a solar eclipse. Every day is special. But where do these holidays come from? Where do these expected events come from? Why have we programmed them into our lives, into our calendars? And why does the Ascension people, why are they looking for celestial events? Right? So we can all get focused. We can all get excited because it comes back to our ancient ancestors. Our ancient ancestors didn't have a mobile phone, didn't have social media, television, computer. They didn't have anything. They didn't have a car. So what they had was word of mouth. What they had was, village gossip. That's what they had. So when something happened, it would spread through the village. And then it would go from storytellers would tell it village to village. And then there were these godlike beings that had to inspire these primitives, these uneducated people. There were no books. 5,000 years ago, there were no books. There were scrolls, but most of the population was illiterate. Literate means they can't read, but people can talk, they can communicate, but reading is a problem. Writing, nobody had a typewriter. So knowledge was handed over to the scribes and the magicians, the oracles. They had access to the knowledge, and they would communicate with the gods. And the gods would appear, a holographic form of the gods would appear. And the magicians can see, they can travel, astral travel to other worlds, other dimensions, and they would communicate with the gods. And the gods would project themselves here as a holographic form. And they would share information with the people. And sometimes there would be a big spectacle, and the people would see a holographic projection. A ship might appear, a glowing person with a powerful aura. People would descend and land and walk and share knowledge, and they would be glowing, and they would be spiritual, and they would impart knowledge. And they would say, what would they say? They would say, on the hour, on the 5th of November, there shall be a great spark in the sky. When you see it, everything will change. And then the godlike beings would create a spark in the sky on November 5th. Or they would say, there's a solar eclipse in March, and tell people, be prepared. You must fast. You must fast for 3 days, or you must fast for 2 weeks. Don't eat pork. And people would fast and not eat pork in order to gain all the knowledge of the event that was given to them by these people. But 5,000 years ago is much different than today. And yet we're still following the same kind of ascension principles, ascension process of these primitive people compared to us. They can't read, they don't have books, they don't have mobile phones, they don't have videos, they don't have libraries that they can access, Wikipedia, internet. We have all these things. We have educators that can go online and do courses online, on YouTube, sharing knowledge. People can read books. And yet when it comes to ascension, we still have people thinking on December 21st, 2012, that something will happen. When the sun, when the Jupiter enters Saturn, when Pluto spins backwards, everything will change, right? The Ascension group is still buried in this mindset of a magical day, a day of ascension, or a day of disclosure, because the extraterrestrials promise. And how many promises have they made? How many promises have they made? They're going to appear next week, next month, on this day. Wait just a little bit longer. They don't show up. Wait just a little bit longer. They're coming. Who's behind all that, right? Who's behind all these promises? Would it be the extraterrestrials who are making false promises, or would it be some other group making false promises? Who says that a planetary alignment will cause mass ascension? Who says that? How can it be true? If it has not been true for thousands of years, and that is to say, there is no one day, historically speaking, there's no one day that we can identify where life changed from that point on a spiritual level. We cannot, there's no one day. Even the presence of the Messiah, messianic figures, the messianic figures, their appearance did not change society in one day. Even they went teaching, they did not change society while they were teaching. They changed society after they were dead, after the myth was grown, after their knowledge was shared over centuries, right? Buddhism, there were Buddhists in 500 BC, but there are more Buddhists today than there were in 500 BC. So if Buddha was an ascended being, and his followers, his disciples were ascended, and his teachings were magical, and that he can open people's eyes 2,500 years ago, right? 500 BC, 2,500 years ago. If it is true that he was this messianic figure, the anointed one, the awakened one. Buddha means awakened, the awakened one, the one who can see. So you would imagine at that time Buddha could walk into a village and historically speaking, just wake everybody up by his presence. Let's make that assumption. Let's just use that as an assumption. Buddha walks into a village and this light and his frequency is so powerful, the village rises up and they become ascended. That's not true, but let's just make that assumption. The assumption would be that 2,500 years ago, everybody ascended because the Buddha traveled everywhere. You know, all of India ascended 2,500 years ago. So what happened from 2,500 years ago until now? Did they descend? Or is it more likely that the myth of ascension needs to be dispelled? That there's no grand ascension. There's no magical day. It's a process. Like I said, we have more Buddhists today than 2,500 years ago. Right? Because now Buddhism is across the globe. And 2,500 years ago, it was isolated to India and parts of China. And then it started to spread over the centuries into the Middle East, through Persia, into Iran, and even into Israel. Buddhism spread right across. And now we have it in North America. Can we say that, using the Buddhism as an example, can we say that all Buddhists are ascended people? "2,500 years of sacred spiritual knowledge. That some of it is as true today as it was 2,500 years ago. Things that just are very spiritual, connected to human nature. Now, in contrast, we have a new movement now. We have a new spiritual movement, an ascension movement. People seeking ascension. And for the 14 or 15 years I've been teaching, they've been looking for a day. I was looking for a day when I started, because I was told there's going to be a day. And the expert says there's got to be a day because we checked the Sumerian tablets, we read the Mayan glyphs, and the ancient Egyptians prophesized it. Socrates mentioned something. And I have my contacts with other beings, the Pleiadians, who they apparently know everything. And so they said, well, there's a day. It's going to happen on July 7th. It's going to happen in October. Nothing happens. It's going to happen in December. Nothing happens. There were some problems. A rogue planet spun the energy backwards. It's going to happen in January. It's going to happen in February. It's going to happen in July. When is it going to happen? And I had a realization. I had my own ascension. It's never going to happen. Not in one day. It's not like Christmas. Ascension in disclosure is not like Christmas. It's not a day we all get together and sing Kumbaya. And that's not the way the world works. That's the way we program. Christmas is a commercial. Process. It's a commercial system. Is to protect the economy more than it is to protect anything else. And it rides on the back of Christianity, which suggested that the Messiah was born on December 25th, and anybody who's done any research knows that that's not true. And then if you do further research, you realize there's the winter solstice on December 2021, which is a magical day, but it's not the 25th. So maybe something happened a long time ago on the 25th. Maybe there are spiritual energies on the 25th. Maybe at the end of the year it is a good time. It is a very pleasant family time in December that you work the whole year. But then who created the year? Who created the calendar? Who said that there's a January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, December, November, December? Who said that? Because at the end of that, if you start in January, by the end of December, you're worn out. You want a gift. I want a prize. I've been working 11 and a half months. I want 2 weeks off. Does that have to do with Ascension? Does it have to do with the Messiah? Does it have to do, I'm just tired. I'm worn out. Let's all agree to slow down, get fat, give each other gifts we don't need, rack up the credit cards to keep the economy flowing, and just take a break. I want to go skiing. Let's all go skiing. Let's all take a break. Let's close everything down, and then nobody has to work. It's pretty ingenious, right? For November, December, we spend all our money, and then December we take a couple of weeks off. There's nothing wrong with that, because we've been working since January. I'm tired. Come January, you're financially broke. You realize you spent too much. You're 20 pounds overweight. And the first thing you want to do is you want to go at an exercise program. So you buy a year program to lose weight. You go for a month or two, and that's it. In the fitness center, they're taking a year of your membership, and you're only coming in for a couple of months. The system works because human nature is like this. Human nature is a bit ragged. I am a bit like this. I'm not perfect. I used to like Christmas. I used to love Christmas. When I was a kid, I used to love Christmas. And then I moved to China. I went to China. And I was looking forward to Christmas. And I bought a stocking. There were no trees, but I was looking forward to Christmas, and I tried to tell Chinese people about Christmas, and nobody knew what it was. And my girlfriend at the time, I tried to get her interested in Christmas, buy gifts, and then there was no Christmas. There was no Christmas spirit. Nobody cared about Christmas. Nobody knew about Santa Claus. And Christmas came and went, and I had an epiphany. Christmas is just important in, Western countries, or those with that tradition. And then Christmas just the illusion of Christmas disappeared. And I didn't need Christmas anymore. Like, Christmas just vanished because no one believed it. No one in China at that time, this is now uh, 20 years ago. At the time, nobody believed it. Today, they do celebrate more. But we believe these things, right? And we make it important. But nothing changes after Christmas. The gift you get at Christmas, how many gifts did you get at Christmas that are sitting in your closet, sitting in the garage today? How many clothes, shoes are sitting in your wardrobe that you don't wear, but you really wanted it? I really wanted it, right? It's normal to have this process, but we have to be careful when we transfer this programming to Ascension, which is why I talk about the Ascension carrot and stick. You know, the carrot and stick is for the mule, the donkey, to chase the carrot so that it keeps working. But he can never, because the stick holds the carrot, right? So he can never bite the carrot, so he keeps working. So he plows the field, and he takes the farmer to the village. And it's this Ascension carrot which keeps us moving forward, which is nice. But we are more advanced today than we were 5,000 years ago or 2,500 years ago. And we all need to realize that Ascension is a process. Ascension, and it goes in stages. I've seen, since I started, when I woke up, it was December 2005. Or November is when I started to have the meetings with the elves. But I woke up in December, let's say. I woke up and my whole view of things changed. Now, YouTube officially launched around that time. And it was in development, it was being tested, and some people were using it, but officially it got invested, and then it launched around that time, December 2005. Now, when YouTube started, there weren't many people. No one really trusted the technology. Is it going to be here? Is it going to disappear? What's going to happen with my information? How do you make a video? What do I put on YouTube? Right? So it was very early stage, it's December 2005. That's when I woke up. We move into 2006. Now I want to communicate, and Twitter's just start about March 2006. Nobody's using Twitter. Nobody likes Twitter. I like Twitter. When Twitter came out, I liked it. I told everyone about it. No interest. That was 2006. Because I like to write. And YouTube, you need to make a video, you needed a camera, you needed internet. We didn't have smartphones. There was no iPhone. The iPhone came out in 2007. I think it's September 2007. So the iPhone wouldn't come out for 2 years. And the iPhone's not going to have a lot of video. There won't be a lot of apps. It's mostly a phone and a music device. So you got YouTube starting, you got Twitter that nobody's really using. So there was MySpace. There was blogs. Yahoo had blogs, chat rooms. And that's where we would go. We'd go to the chat rooms. I had a MySpace account. And this was, 2006. Facebook was still in the universities. And then later in 2006, Facebook starts to become publicly available. Again, not everybody's jumping on it. People want to think about it. They want to make sure that they know what they're doing, that it's safe. We didn't trust the technology. We didn't know it would be around. But people like me alternative thinkers who were looking for somewhere to share their knowledge and to speak. We were pioneers. We were jumping on it, saying this is an opportunity, right? MySpace, blog after blog, right? This is the truth. Later, YouTube, I got something to say. And later, Facebook. So this, what you're seeing, what I'm saying is that when I woke up, when I ascended, I didn't have any avenue to share my knowledge. And that's because everyone else was slowly waking up and the technology was being made. The internet speed, upload and download speed were very low, were like 3 megabits per second. Today is over 60. Today you got the phone. You could upload videos. You can download videos. You can stream a movie. You couldn't stream a movie in 2005. You had to get a DVD. You needed a DVD player. Blu-ray. Remember Blu-ray? What happened to Blu-ray? What happened to the laser disc? What happened to the flip phone? That disappeared when the iPhone came out. iPhone comes out, software-based technology, cool design. iPhone, it had a very low amount of storage. So as the people who joined me were waking up, the technology was becoming available. And we were sharing. And we were sharing, and then more people woke up. Right? Listen to this guy. Listen to that guy. Right? He's got video evidence. He's got a theory. Now, a lot of the old alternative experts, the ones who preceded me, they were still on the radio, and they would go to conferences. They were still on the radio. They trusted the radio. And I listened to the radio, coast to coast AM. In 2000, even in 2003 and 4 and 5, I was listening to Coast AM. That was my access. That was my information to help me wake up, right? My ascension. It didn't happen in one show. It didn't happen in one program. It happened over years. Over several years, and then I had an awakening myself, my own spiritual awakening, but that was not the final, that was not the end, that was not the only one. And as powerful as it was, there were many more to come. So from 2005, now we're sharing, now we're all waking up, right? Now we're all ascending. Ascension is you becoming more aware. And people were selling this day and that day, and this day is going to be it. This is going to be it. This is the big day. If we look in the last 15 years, there has been no big day of ascension. That's a fact. A fact. Even the great catastrophes and tragedies and earthquakes, they shifted society. And the best-selling books and the movies, it did not cause mass and final awakening. Even all the solar eclipses and the planetary alignments and the promises by the Pleiadians did not cause a mass ascension in the last 15 years, and we have more knowledge in the last 15 years than the last 500 years or 1,000 years. We are in information overload. And so the ascension has gone on for the last 10 or 15 years. I've been sharing for the last 15 years, and that's the ascension. People have been waking up. And now you're seeing the next phase. The new generation is going to take it to another level, because now they got more technology, they got more knowledge, they got youth. right? So now we're entering the new phase of ascension. But there's no end to it. I haven't ascended to the final level. There is no final level of ascension. It's a process. It's a process.